Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. We're getting our stream started this morning with Final Fantasy XIV. I've got just another chat to get opened up here. Just one moment, please. We'll get underway. We've got to go see Minfilia at the Rising Stones. First order of business, it looks like. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing all right. Just drop us a note down in the chat if you'd like to. Gotta go see Minfilia at the Rising Stones. First order of business, it looks like. Yep, and there's that repeat. Doesn't stay turned off. Sound-wise, anyways. Oh well. Let's see. I would like to welcome you to the stream. I appreciate you being here with us this morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. And drop a couple messages and information down in the chats here. And then we will get started. Hopefully be better than it was yesterday during our Infinite Undiscovery stream. Got off to a rough start yesterday. A few technical problems yesterday morning, but it looks like everything's working okay so far here, knock on wood. Alright, so let's see, let's get going. We got to speak with Minfilia. Last time we, so what did we do? We went through Snowcloak dungeon and found the path to Shiva and took her on, but it's unclear as to what her intentions are as far as primals go anyways. Let's see. Let's head on over to Mordona here. Check on Minfilia and see how we move this thing along here.
Welcome back, my friend. I have already received word from Alphino. To think that Flame Marshal Huayu was the Garlean agent, I know not what to say. Together with Robon, Eline lent us much-needed aid at the time of our Order's founding. She was particularly passionate about the need to tackle the primal threat. When we discussed the subject, her eyes fairly shone with determination. Whatever else she may have been, I choose to believe that it was her true self with whom I spoke then. But now is not the time to dwell on such matters. I have an important announcement to make regarding our effort to defeat the Ascians. We shall begin as soon as everyone is assembled. My thanks for coming, friends. Moonbreeder, the floor is yours.
By now, I'm sure you're all familiar with white auracite, the miraculous material that'll allow us to capture Ascian souls. Back at Snowcloak, we verified its ability to absorb vast amounts of ether. Alas, it leaves something to be desired in the area of stability. The stone can only store ether for a short while before expelling its contents.
In addition to auracite's inherent limitations, we must needs be wary of our enemy's strength. Our foe draweth upon an infinite wellspring of power. Even should we succeed in entrapping him, the stone will not long contain his wrath.
Meaning that, if we want to kill the swine, we'll have to be quick about it.
'Tis our belief that an Ascian soul may be permanently undone, if smitten by a sufficiently concentrated burst of pure ether.
The only trouble is, we can't say for sure how concentrated the burst needs to be. Without knowing how much ether an Ascian soul is composed of, we're basically guessing.
Our sole clue lieth in thy struggle with La Habrea.
During that encounter, Heidelin bid you forge what she called a Blade of Light, a weapon which took the form of a luminous stream of energy. Based on your description, we believe the blade with which you vanquished your foe was composed of ether. Admittedly, your victory proved ephemeral, as La Habrea was able to use a crystal of darkness to flee into the space that lies between our world and the void. The fact remains, however, that Heidelin placed the means to destroy the Ascians in your hands. Be that as it may, it would be unwise to assume that she will do the same when we next encounter such a foe.
Quite so, my lady. We must needs find the means to forge our own blade of ether, one to equal that which Heidelin did benevolently bestow upon her champion.
That is all well and good, but it seems to me that producing such a blade will require a prodigious quantity of ether. Whence will it come, pray tell?
Oh, what if we had two pieces of white auracite? One to trap the Ascian, and the other to store the ether for the blade.
Oh, nice try. But it's as I said, the stone won't hold ether for any length of time. We'd still need to collect the stuff there and then, sorry to say.
And therein lies the rub. Finding a way to create the blade whenever and wherever we choose.
Twould seem more research is in order.
I'm going to linger a while, perform a few more tests on the auracite. And I could do with some help. Urianger, why don't you lend me a hand?
Mine apologies, but I am required at the Waking Sands.
Oh yeah, that hustling and bustling metropolis.
Lady Minfilia hath given me sole charge of the premises. 'Twould be unseemly to leave them unattended.
Sure, Urianger, sure.
Sole charge, you say? So you're basically alone there, then? Well, that settles it. I'll just have to come to you.
While you were afield, word arrived from the Sharlayan motherland. You will recall that a survey party was dispatched to investigate the incident at the Isle of Val. What they discovered was troubling, to say the least. According to the report, the isle has been erased from existence. 'Twas as if a hole had been torn in the very fabric of reality.
Aye, yet the mystery endeth not with the isle's disappearance. It hath come to light that a number of scholars in various other locales were reported missing at a similar juncture.
What's more, they all had something in common with the head of the students of Baldessian. Every last one of them was researching a phenomenon called dimensional compression, or the rejoining as the ancient texts call it. I'll be damned if that's a coincidence.
All indications suggest Ascian involvement, but I sense that a force greater still is at work. The entity the Dark Beings call the One True God. We must pray that my dear friend Kryl regains consciousness soon. If she bore witness to the Isle of Val's final moments, she may be able to shed some light on this mystery.
Following the calamity, the forces of the 14th Imperial Legion entrenched themselves in strategic locations across Eorzea. So swiftly did they accomplish this, it was suspected that they had received help. To think that it came from Huayu, my right hand.
There is more. We have reason to believe that Huayu didn't deal exclusively with the 14th. She also answered to a higher authority in Garlemald. But this higher authority could not have been the Emperor. By consenting to the Media Project, Solus Zos Galvus showed himself to be more concerned about preventing the spread of primal influence than claiming Eorzea for the Empire. He would happily have seen the lot reduced to ash. We believe a number of high-ranking figures within the royal household were against the decision, but that they knew better than to oppose the Emperor openly. Of course, this didn't prevent them from making clandestine provisions, in which Huayu played a part.
Huayu?
Alas, these provisions did not prevent Dalamud from falling, and the ensuing chaos changed the face of the realm forever. Yet Eorzea survived. To all intents and purposes, the Meteor Project had failed, and the Empire was left to rue its lack of a decisive means to eliminate the primals. Until, that is, it stumbled upon the Ultima weapon.
Even before the accursed thing was dug up, it seemed to me the 14th had the might to overwhelm our weakened armies. Yet they chose to hide behind their walls. Why?
The Black Wolf was wary of making the denizens of Eorzea desperate, lest more primals emerge to bleed the land. The discovery of the Ultima weapon, however, emboldened him to resume his war of conquest in earnest.
But there was one in Garlemald who believed that Van Belsar's actions were premature. One who stood higher in the Imperial Army's chain of command. He ordered the Legatus to halt his advance, only to find that the Black Wolf had slipped its leash, and that the 14th now acted alone. In a bid to bring Van Belsar to heel, he used the agent he had planted in Ul'dah prior to the calamity to undermine the Legion's efforts.
A man who outranks Van Belsar, yet opposed the late Emperor's decision to annihilate Eorzea. This could only be the former High Legatus of the Garlean army, now known as Emperor Varus Zos Galvus. So he was Huayu's true master.
But one of several in actual fact. We've learned that even as Huayu served the Empire's interests, she sold Imperial secrets to a certain faction in Eorzea. In so doing, she helped to maintain the status quo, thus prolonging the conflict. Considering who stands to profit from war, it isn't hard to imagine who her other masters were.
Indeed.
Seven hells! You mean to say that she was a double agent?
Triple, if you consider her services to Van Belsar and the new Emperor as separate.
As neatly as these pieces seem to fit, one aspect of the puzzle remains unclear to me. By whose will was the Marshal feeding intelligence to the heretics? And try as I might, I fail to see how aiding their cause would profit either her Imperial or monetarist masters. Could it be that another hand is at work here? If so, Huayu must be made to reveal whose it is.
Not only have I lost a trusted friend, now I must interrogate her as a stranger.
Not a pleasant task, I grant you, but a necessary one. Unless we weed out the ivy, root, stalk, and stem, it will simply grow back.
I know that full well. Those closest to Huayu have already been detained, and I will question them alongside her.
General, pray keep in mind that there may be unwitting abettors among them.
All will be treated fairly. On that you have my word. Those who are innocent have no cause to fear.
You have ever been a friend of truth, General. I hope the unpleasant task of weeding out falsehood will not detain you too long. Though it be for the sake of Eorzea, doubting one's comrades is poison to the soul. And with that, I take my leave.
All these years, I've been made to dance to their tune. How could you, Huayu? How could you side with them? Those cankers who take from this land and give naught in return, who use their power to disempower and grow fat while the people starve. I know you can hear me, monetarist scum! Your crimes will not go unpunished! One day I will purge this land of your sickness! Before the eyes of the 12, I swear it! Ah!
I shall have no further need of you this day. Your Grace. I fear that not even mine own chambers shall remain private for long.
Has the situation grown so grim?
Ever since he proposed the Cartiner Reclamation Bill, Teleji Adeleji has risen to greater prominence upon the backs of impoverished refugees. The monetarists were ever united in their pursuit of profit, but the man's actions have torn a rift in their ranks. They snap at each other as rabid dogs. Yet now is not the time to be bickering among ourselves.
If this bickering is a threat to law and order, might you not have grounds to dissolve the Syndicate?
Would that the solution were so simple, Admiral. Alas, my moving to dissolve the Syndicate is certain to spark outrage among the influential merchant class, whom the Cabal represents. This would serve to exacerbate the current unrest, and peace would slip still further away. Be they rich or poor, natives or refugees, all who reside in Ul'dah have a right to pursue happiness. It is the duty of a ruler to protect this right. If I am to perform my duty, I must needs tread warily. It would not do to make enemies heedlessly. Were Lord Lolorito here, he would doubtless say that I have my head in the clouds.
A ruler is required to take a wide view. Try as we might to cater to all needs, some will inevitably be overlooked. As such, there shall ever be citizens who feel aggrieved. It cannot be helped. But as you have informed us, the monetarists take no view but their own. They hunger for power while the masses starve. In the absence of a common cause, it seems beyond any one individual to make Ul'dah whole.
And the presence of a Garlean agent within the immortal flames only makes matters worse. Even accounting for Uldar's historic reliance upon mercenaries, such a grievous breach of security is unprecedented. I fear this business will provide the monetarists with a rod to beat Rauban.
Eorzea can ill afford for the immortal flames to be dampened now. Ere long, the Garleans will turn their ravenous gaze toward our lands once more. If we are to resist their might, our nations must stand together. Yet for this to happen, our nations must be whole. Cannot be done to improve the situation in Ul'dah.
The true wealth of Ul'dah lies in the health, happiness, and hopes of her citizens. Alas, the citizens shall never know these things, so long as their lives are ruled by the ambitions of the few. The monetarists claim to represent the best interests of the people, but in sooth they desire only to manipulate them for their own selfish ends. For the government to serve the people, it must be formed of the people. For Ul'dah to move forward, it is not only the Syndicate that must be dissolved.
Nay, you jest.
My friends, it was for no other reason than to make known to you mine intent that I requested your presence here. When I make my declaration to the people, chaos shall inevitably ensue. As the last monarch in the line of Ul, I make unto you this request. Help Rauban to preserve order and protect the people. Forsake them, and you forsake yourselves. For a strong Eorzea will ever have need of a strong Ul'dah.
Your Grace, are you certain of this?
There is no other way. When the time is ripe, the nation shall become a true republic. Both royalists and monetarists shall cease to be. Ul'dah will no longer belong to kings or queens or merchant princes, but to her people. Rauban, forgive me for casting aside all that you have toiled for in my name. Beyond this gesture, I am powerless to help my subjects.
Wow, quite a bold move. Dreams of ice. I am most eager to address the Ascian threat. However, we dare not neglect our other pressing concerns. We both know full well that Saint Shiva will not be the last primal we face, and our relationship with Ishgard is still tenuous at best. To think that the resolution of the primal threat was once the sole priority of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. Some days I wonder if it was wise for us to take on so many other responsibilities. Lest you forget, antecedent, the Scions need not shoulder the burden alone. Were not the Crystal Braves established for this very reason? True, we are presented with a multitude of problems. However, we have all the resources we need to address them in turn. Anne, in particular, is ever a steadying hand, who I trust will continue to support the Braves. To what do we owe the pleasure? Have there been further developments regarding the situation in Ul'dah? As expected, the Immortal Flames have been struggling to cope with the revelation that one of their highest-ranking officers was a Garlean agent. Suffice it to say, Teleji Adeleji and his monetarist ilk have wasted no time in attempting to turn the situation to their advantage. Coupled with ongoing unrest, the flames are finding themselves hard-pressed. Plainly, General Ralban needs our help, and I will direct the Crystal Braves to offer what support they can. If I am to stay abreast of the latest developments and issue effective orders, however, I cannot afford to waste time traveling back and forth. And so, for the foreseeable future, I think it would be for the best if I were to remain in Ul'dah, unless you have an objection. None whatsoever. We have matters here well in hand. Moonbreeda's research is proceeding as planned? So she tells me, though I am not familiar with the details. Urianger is poring over his tomes at the Waking Sands, and the others are contributing in their own ways. Alas, the key problem, how to form an ethereal blade at will, remains unsolved. Nevertheless, it is only a matter of time. And, while we focus on that task, mayhap you could assist Alphino and his braves with theirs? It would do much to restore faith in the immortal flames if the Warrior of Light was seen working on their behalf. Never forget that your esteemed status allows you to act in ways that those more tightly bound to organizations and nations cannot. As ever, I implore you to do so. Sure, I'll work for everybody, no problem. Not that your response was ever in doubt, but I humbly thank you once more for aiding our cause. Now then, there are preparations I must attend to before my departure, such as receiving Riol's latest report. He has proven to be quite skilled at gathering information others wish kept secret, hence why I placed him under my direct command and ordered him to investigate the Ul'dah riots. When you are finished here, join me outside. Depending on what he has to say, I may soon have a favor to ask. If there are any developments on our front, I shall inform you at once in the usual fashion. Hey, if you're just joining us today, welcome. Glad to have you here. How are you doing? Everything okay? What's on your mind? Drop us a message down in the chat if you would. Of course, if you just prefer to lurk and enjoy the atmosphere in the game with us, that's fine too. We're just happy to have you here regardless. Pleasure as always, Anne. You'll be escorting the commander to Ul'dah, I take it? Actually, I had another task in mind for her. If you would be so kind as to repeat your report for her benefit. Right then. Me and mine have been making inquiries into the source of the weapons what found their ways into refugee hands a ways back. So happens we caught wind of something promising. A rather large purchase of sharp and pointy things by a black marketeer holed up near Highbridge. I doubt that this man would have secured such a quantity of weapons if he did not already have clients waiting, clients that, for whatever reason, would prefer for this transaction to remain secret. Brings to mind that merchant what caught an arrow while talking to Anne, don't it? Generous fellow he was, doling out swords and spears to the downtrodden and disgruntled. Which isn't to say that these clients have the same mischief in mind, but if you want to be sure, might be prudent to intervene before they collect their goods, savvy? Seizing the weapons before they fall into the wrong hands would be for the best. However, if we strike at the appointed hour, we might capture the black marketeer as well as his clients. What say you, Anne? Then it is settled. Rendezvous with Captain Ilbert at Highbridge and intervene when the exchange takes place. Now then, if you would excuse me, I must leave for Ul'dah. I expect good tidings. Alright. So we've got, go meet with Ilbert, huh? And let's see, that's over in Dry Bone. Did I pick up something in my inventory there? What did I get? Oh yeah, weapon coffer. That won't be for a... Can't do that for a red mage, can we? Yeah. We'll go ahead and nab that for our old black mage for now. All right. Well, let's see what that weapon looks like here. Ooh, it's a glowy weapon. Okay. Well, that would be interesting if we choose to play Black Mage again. Ah, and my scouts have been keeping a close eye on the Black Marketeer, and it would seem that his guests have arrived. It would also seem that he has hired more than a few men to stand guard, common thugs of no consequence, but they nevertheless pose a threat. Even so, I feel compelled to apologize. This is far beneath a woman of your standing, and Commander Levalier needn't have dispatched you hither. But powerful men ever have need of loyal, able-bodied friends. Having found one in you, 'tis only natural that he would come to rely upon you without hesitation. Now then, we should make for the burning wall without delay and secure those weapons. The first unit will ensure that the clients do not escape. With me, Anne. There he is. I spy the one man, but there are sure to be others. I have a plan. While you approach the sentry and create a distraction, my men and I will slip past and catch the Black Marketeer unawares. Once you've disposed of the thugs, wait for us outside the tunnel entrance. Any questions? Then let us be off. Good luck, my friend. Hello, hired thug. Who goes there? An adventurer? Damned fool, you should have never come here. Let's get to that tunnel. Where am I? There we go. Waiting, 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 waiting. I don't understand. What's this all about? Ah! As you can see, this is a fine mess. When I tried to restrain him, he drew a hidden blade and lashed out, but before I could disarm him, one of my subordinates panicked, and this is the result. How foolish of me to underestimate the bastard and to bring an inexperienced recruit. Commander Levelure will be most displeased. Damn it all, a golden opportunity wasted. As for the clients, though we know not how, they slipped past our perimeter. At present, the first is currently tracking a party of Duskwhite sellswords we suspect may be them. Would that we could have enlisted the aid of the Immortal Flames or the Brass Blades. Alas, we're here to aid them. They're in no position to aid us. Well, at the very least, we have secured the weapons, yet even that accomplishment is lacking, for the information we received indicated a massive shipment, and this is anything but. I will join the first in their hunt for the Duskwhite sellswords. If the gods are good, we will catch them before they escape into the Black Shroud. In the meantime, I ask that you deliver these weapons to Ul'dah in my stead. Entrust them to the third's Yu Hasi. He will take care of the rest. Alright, back to Ul'dah then. There's old Wilrid and Ascian and Yu Hasi all hanging out together. Ah, the Warrior of Light, ever reliable friend to the Crystal Braves. You have my deepest thanks for your assistance in Kurthus. Now, what brings you to us this day? This confiscated crate. A gift of weapons from a certain black marketeer courtesy of Captain Ilberd, you say? Understood. Once we've cataloged the contents, I'll have them delivered to the Hall of Flames. This cannot be everything, can it? Riol stated with confidence that there would be a far greater quantity of weapons. A blatant falsehood. Clearly, Riol is unfamiliar with the ways of Ul'dah merchants who ever strive to present themselves as greater than they are. We should be thankful that his information was not completely erroneous and that we managed to achieve anything of worth at all. It's still something worth celebrating, isn't it, Lieutenant? Besides, we've got more important things to worry about, like fighting those Garleans up north. There'll be no fighting if I have anything to say about it. Our orders are to stand watch, not to seek glory in battle. If you have no further need of us, then I shall take my unit to the ceruleum processing plant. Time for the Fourth to earn their keep, eh? Fight well, Ascian, for the freedom of all. Excellent work as always, my friend. Rest assured that the Immortal Flames will hear of your contribution. Until we meet again. Anne, a word if it please ye. Not here. Look for me at the Sapphire Avenue Exchange. No need for whistling this time, don't you worry. Good old Rio. I like him. Thanks for indulging me request. Few places better than a market for privacy, I find. All the hustle and bustle of commerce means most conversations go unnoticed. I'll get to the point. At the Burning Wall, when you and the captain interrupted the exchange, what happened? Tell me everything. Leave no detail out. Well, there was some fighting and some screaming and then some killing. That's not quite how the first told it. These Duskwights they were chasing. Latest word is that we lost the trail. But you never saw him yourself? Not before the fighting started and not after? Something ain't right. I don't know what it is, but I can feel it in me bones. I'm not daft enough to be misled by some merchant's drunken boasts. Our information was reliable, goddammit. I know he purchased those weapons. As if I've never deciphered a moneylender's books or had to follow a transaction back to its source. Did plenty of that back when the Braves were getting started, believe me. The commander wanted assurances that we weren't taking Gil from the wrong sort of benefactors. Of course, these days the money flows like water and the first and third get the shiniest new toys. Forgive me, friend. I've a lot on me mind these days, and I appreciate you lending an ear. Right then, best get back to it. Anne, can you hear me? This is Tataru. Your presence is urgently requested at the Rising Stones. Please come and see me as soon as you are able. Ooh, exciting. Thank you for coming so quickly, Anne. We've a guest from Ishgard who wishes to speak with you. A most, determined lady by all indications. Our guest is with the antecedent in the Solar at present. Let's not keep them waiting any longer, shall we?
We have a guest from Ishgard who wishes to speak with you. I believe the two of you have met.
We have. I had hoped to speak with Commander Leveilleur as well, but I cannot afford to wait any longer. The Lord Commander sent me hither to request your aid in a matter of grave import.
You see now why I had Tataru summon you.
Now that we're all assembled, perhaps you would be good enough to elaborate on the nature of the matter which brought you to us.
The Observatorium's astrologians have sounded the alarm. Last night, the Dragonstar burned with an intensity not seen in 15 summers. Not since the Dravanians engaged the Empire in the Battle of Silvertear Skies.
The northern sky doth burn full bright upon the Wormlord's call. The red behemoth beckoneth, and flame consumeth all.
The old Curthan rhyme, aye. The brightening of the Dragonstar is said to accompany the roar of a great worm. The astrologians believe that it was Midgard Soma himself who cried out on this occasion.
After an absence of centuries, the King of Kings did return to lead his kind against the might of Garlemald, only to fall in his duel with the Agrius, proud flagship of the Garlean fleet. Devoid of life, his corpse remaineth entwined about the Magitech monstrosity even unto this day.
Urianger has the right of it. Whatever this alteration in the Dragonstar portends, the Great Worm has shown no sign of life. Tataru, have the Domans reported aught out of the ordinary?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if Midgard-Zorma had roared, wouldn't we have heard it here in Revenant's Toll?
Roar is but a figure of speech. Dravanians can communicate in ways beyond our ken. It is for this very reason that we are forced to look for signs in the heavens. We cannot say with any confidence that a great worm roared at all, much less that it was Midgard-Zorma. Only by directly examining the Keeper of the Lake can we be certain. However, it will take too long to gain the Holy See's approval to dispatch the Temple Knights. Therefore, Sir Emric would entrust this task to you. Do you accept?
Mm-hmm.
We knew you would not disappoint us. Now, if you would excuse me, I must return and assist the Lord Commander. We have precious little time to prepare.
To prepare for what, pray tell?
When a great worm roars, his brethren cannot choose but answer. We prepare for battle.
Ooh. Forgive me if I state aught which you already know, but I would ensure that you understand the nature of your destination. As Urianger stated, what we now call the Keeper of the Lake is the wreckage of the Agrius, former flagship of the Imperial fleet, and the corpse of the worm responsible for its destruction. 15 years ago, as the next step in his campaign to subjugate Eorzea, Gaius van Belsar attempted to seize control of Mordona. So massive was his force that all thought his victory a foregone conclusion. But an unlikely ally came to Eorzea's aid that day. Midgard-Zorma, legendary guardian of Silvertear Falls, burst forth from beneath the waters of the lake and led a host of dragons against the Garlean airships overhead. In what would later become known as the Battle of Silvertear Skies, the Great Worm felled countless airships before engaging the Agrius. In the ensuing struggle, the flagship's ceruleum engines failed and it tumbled into the lake below, yet this victory came at a great cost, for the explosion which followed claimed the life of the Great Worm as well. The same explosion transformed Silvertear Falls into the desolate wasteland it is today, draining the lake of its waters and crystallizing ether for malms around. Yet a remnant of the lake remains, and at its center a constant reminder of that fateful day long ago. In accordance with Sir Emeric's wishes, our Doman allies have been standing watch over the Keeper of the Lake. It would be wise to speak with them before investigating the wreckage yourself. Be careful, my friend. We know not what dangers await you within. Now then, let us not neglect our own tasks. There is much to be done, and precious little time to do it. All right, let's go see what they have to say. You're in luck, miss. I was about to send word to Revenant's Toll about the Garleans. Of late, I've seen small airships, likely from Castrum Sentry, come and go from the Keeper of the Lake. Though I cannot say for certain at this distance, I believe they may be salvaging something from within the wreckage. The Castrum supply lines have been cut for some time, and I'd wager they're desperately in need of spare parts and other equipment. So it's true then, the Ishgardians honestly fear that the worm might rise again? Well, from here that seems rather unlikely, but if it's assurances they want, you've no choice but to inspect the corpse in its entirety. Easier said than done, given the creatures which inhabit the wreckage, and the aforementioned Garleans who won't take kindly to your presence. They're sure to fire upon an airship, so I'd advise a more stealthy approach. Take this boat and a few of your comrades to the base of the Agrius, then climb to the top. That's the only viable approach, I'd say. All right. Well, we will run this with duty support then, just so we can get right into it. Yeah, and our good old Marauder, Conjurer, and Thaumaturge keeping us company through this one. Oh, there's actually a coffer before the first battle. Let's see. Is that one we use? No. So the Varlet's Ring is for all classes, but its eye level's too low compared to the others, it looks like. What do we have here? Eye level 110. There's a 90. That one's not being overridden for whatever reason. better get out of there. Waited too long. Yep. At least it wasn't fatal. And some boots of casting. Not going to be using those, looks like. Interesting. They want to give us that varlet's ring several times already. Yay, boss number 2. Any day now, Marauder.
Who treadeth now upon my bones, and waketh me from slumber sweet? Remember, mortal, and fear me.
All right, see if we can muddle our way through this one here. what we got. Oh yeah, more poetics. We're almost tapped out on those. Let's see, Jacket of Scouting. Yeah, I need to go spend some of those poetics, it looks like. Just four shy of a full 2,000. Well, didn't do too bad on that one.
By her gifts hast thou earned a moment's reprieve. Speak, mortal, and I shall listen. Guided by a star. My people have heard the song. Ishgard shall burn.
Oh, crap.
Sons must answer for their father's misdeeds. We do not forget. We do not forgive. Seven children did I sire. One now singeth of retribution. I rise to join in the chorus. Thou art powerless to silence us, mortal. Yet thou shalt not live to labor in vain. Thy reprieve is at an end. Trickery is thy shield. This frail, ignoble creature is not gifted, but chosen. Hearken to me, Hydaelyn. I remember, and I consent. Fear not, mortal. I shall not harm thee. Mayhap thou thinkest me an oath breaker. Thou art mistaken. If thou comest to harm, it shall be by another's hand, not mine. I did but strip thee of thy mistress's feeble blessing. Thou didst profit much by her grace, but no more. The covenant binds me to thee. I shall watch, listen, and wait. Fight and struggle, if it be thy will.
Oops, sorry about that. Skipped one.
I drink of her body, and thence doth mine own find new life. When it hath grown whole, the loyal and penitent shall rejoice. The dragon song heraldeth a beginning and an end.
Now we can summon Midgard Swarmer. Alright. Yeah, I think it's time for the Moogle to go now. Definitely. I'll take Midgard Swarmer. That him there? Yeah. Hey, alright. I was beginning to fear the worst. Were those explosions I saw? But you shouldn't waste time talking with me. Alphino left a message stating that you were to return to the Rising Stones at once. There's like no music in the zone right now. Wow. Just inside the town. Hey Lucia. Hey Tataru. Praise the 12 that you are hale and whole. I came as soon as Minfilia informed me of Sir Amaric's request. You have completed your investigation of the Keeper of the Lake, I take it? Then I would hear your report. You conversed with Midgardsormr. I swear, were anyone else to make such a claim, I would regard it with considerable skepticism. Are we to understand that the Worm Lord did not perish and has in sooth lain dormant these past 15 years? Less a resurrection and more a rejuvenation for he who dwelleth in eternity, years passing as moments. Though his words were ambiguous at times, one statement left little room for interpretation. My people have heard the song, Ishgard shall burn. Clearly an attack is imminent. We must share this information with Sir Amaric immediately. However, we dare not divulge your conversation with Midgardsormr in its entirety. To even acknowledge that you heard the voice of a Dravanian is a grave but necessary risk. Lest we forget, men have been executed as heretics for declaring as much. For your own protection, and for the sake of our tenuous relations with Ishgard, the truth cannot leave this room. As for how we shall present our revelation to Sir Americ's emissary, you may leave that to me. Pray remain here for now. Yeah, I'm actually surprised that she didn't insist on being in here, since she wanted us to investigate the ruins over there. Wonder how they kept her out. Is there something you are not telling us, Anne? You seem different somehow. 'Tis almost as if you are missing something. Something important. Yeah, crystals be stripped from me. 12 for Fen. Midgardsormr stripped you of the blessing of light. Are you all right? How do you feel? I'm okay. I see. It is a relief to hear that you are otherwise unharmed. It beggars belief that any being could possess the power to deprive you of her blessing. Midgardsormr made mention of a covenant, did he not? One of the ancient myths regarding Silvertear Falls states that when the waters came into existence, so too did the Great Worm. Althik and Nymea, Brother Time and Sister Fate, decreed that Midgardsormr ever watch over the source from which all water and magic was said to flow. I wonder, what if this was the covenant of which he spoke, and 'twas not the gods with whom he treated, but Hydaelyn herself? Well, if he is watching over you as he claimed, mayhap you will have an opportunity to ask. Let us keep this matter to ourselves. I do not wish to burden our friends needlessly. Art thou a pawn or master of thy fate? What hast thou wrought by thine own hands, mortal?
My friend, I can scarce believe it. You confronted the Wormlord and lived to tell the tale. I give thanks to Halone for your preservation. It is our sole cause for gladness. Your encounter with the Keeper of the Lake served to confirm our fears. A great worm has roared, and it makes little difference if it was one of the two in Eorzea or any other. The Dravanians are coming.
I am told that Ishgard has magical defenses against Dravanian attack, though I am not privy to their exact nature. Will they be enough to repel a massive force?
Ishgard has weathered countless assaults over centuries. This will be no different. And now that you have confirmed the threat, none can ignore the Lord Commander's calls for the wards to be strengthened. I dare not presume to speak for him, but I expect the Lord Commander would sing your praises. I must away, but we shall meet again soon.
Countless assaults weathered, and this will be no different? Why am I not convinced?
The Ishgardians have warred with the Dravanians for centuries, nay, nearly 1,000 years. In all that time, not once have their enemies breached their defenses and entered the city proper. Yet, regardless of how strong these magical wards may be, I nevertheless fear that the Ishgardians are underestimating the gravity of the situation. Though it was not Midgardsormr who roared, a call to arms by one of the first brood cannot be ignored. Until such time as they choose to request our aid, however, we can do naught but observe the situation at a distance and pray that our fears are unfounded. Ere I forget, I believe Moonbrita has requested a gathering of the Scions. I assume there has been some progress concerning our efforts to combat the Ascians. Pray inform her that our business with the Ishgardians is concluded for the moment. I shall be along once I've completed my communications with the Crystal Braves. All done with your talk of dragons? Wonderful, because Ascians are next on the menu. Let's head into the solar, shall we?
Now that everything's calmed down a bit, relatively speaking I mean, I thought it might be a good time to share our progress on the weapon. I believe we're on the verge of a breakthrough.
Well, don't keep us all in suspense.
Just in case anyone's forgotten, let's start by reviewing what we already know. So, an Ascian is an immortal because its soul doesn't return to the ethereal realm when its host is defeated. Instead, it flees to the place that lies between our world and the void.
This PowerPoint presentation will explain.
Therefore, the first step to permanently defeating an Ascian is preventing its soul from making this journey. And if you recall, when we last gathered here, I had verified that white auracite has adequate capacity to entrap the beings, albeit only briefly.
Which left the small matter of their extermination.
Aye. To unmake an Ascian soul, one must needs smite it with a concentrated burst, or blade, of purest ether. However, we wanted for both the data and the means to forge such a weapon.
Short of experimenting on an actual Ascian, you see, there's no way to gauge how much ether its soul is made of. As such, we don't know what etheric density our blade needs to have in order for it to work.
So we'll just have to make the densest blade we can and hope for the best. Though that would require a lot of ether. Hang on a minute! Why didn't we think of this before? White auracite can hold an absolute heap of ether, can't it?
Please tell me you're joking. God's sakes, Ida. I feel as though I'm reliving the same scene over and over with you. How many times do you need to be told that white auracite cannot store ether for long periods? Being intangible matter, ether is given to dispersion. Only in its crystallized form is it a stable source of energy. I will test you later on this, so see to it you do not forget.
Right, yes. It's all coming back to me.
So our hopes rest on good old crystals again, do they? While they are certainly reliable, they leave something to be desired in the area of portability.
Indeed. I am reminded of the quantity of corrupted crystals required to thwart Leviathan, and the extraordinary lengths to which the Lamentsons went to transport them. What if it should prove that a similar quantity was needed to destroy an Ascian soul? Or still more?
I do not envy the poor sod who has to lug all of that around, on the off chance that an Ascian appears.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's the very problem we set out to solve. And I reckon we've found the answer. If it isn't practical to lug around the ether we need, we'll just have to draw upon another source. And And the only viable source is the land.
If you mean to tap the Great River of Ether, know that it will entail considerable risk. Meddling with the currents may well induce a surge like to the one which despoiled Mordona.
Give me a bit more credit, will you? Why would we need to tap the river when there are veritable reservoirs jutting out all over the land? I speak of corrupted crystals. It might be that their aspect is out of balance, but a crystal's a crystal. It contains ether, and we can help ourselves to it.
While corrupted crystals are indeed abundant, there is no guarantee that they will be in close proximity at a crucial moment.
But what if we don't need them to be? What if we could tap their power from afar? A malm away, say? If we could do that, we'd have ready access to ether aplenty in almost every corner of Eorzea. I've yet to put my theories to the proof, but I've got a good feeling about this. If no one has any objections, I'd like to see where this avenue leads.
If you think it worth your while, you have my blessing. But tell us, what are your theories? I, for one, am most eager to understand the process, however vaguely.
I thought you might say that, but no one wants to listen to boring old theories all day, do they? I know I don't. So with your permission, I'd like to try something a bit more hands-on. I've already built an etheric siphon especially for this purpose, and I've been meaning to try it out. Thing is, the profusion of corrupted crystals in Mordona makes it something of a high-risk testing ground. If anything goes awry with the siphon, it would be better if it didn't happen within spitting distance of quite so much ether. Ideally, I need an isolated specimen. Does anyone know where I can find one?
May I suggest northern Thanalan? There you will find corrupted crystals of middling size, standing a reasonable distance apart. Ideal for your needs, I should have thought. Oh, and if you do elect to visit the place, I should be much obliged if you would assist me in another matter while you are in the area.
Has something happened?
Movement has been observed at Castrum Meridianum. During Operation Archon, the Alliance dealt the stronghold a heavy blow. Its facilities were extensively damaged, and its garrison reduced to a fraction of its former strength. Not long after our forces withdrew, however, their ranks were replenished by reinforcements from Castrum's sentry. They now seek to rebuild, and to this end they have their sights set upon the ceruleum processing plant. Having lost the Empire's support, the 14th Legion lacks the resources to sustain itself. To them, this is a bid for survival, and they will doubtless fight like desperate men. Though I have dispatched the Crystal Braves, I fear their strength alone may not suffice to stay the Imperial assault. I would request the Scion's aid in the defensive effort.
If I didn't know better, I'd say you were trying to inveigle us into fighting your battle with the promise of shiny crystals. Well then, consider me inveigled. I won't lie, the crystals you speak of sound perfect, so the Garleans have to go. Besides, we can't afford to beat about the bush. There's no telling when the Ascians will next appear.
Thine eagerness to hurl thyself into the jaws of danger cometh as little surprise. Exercise due caution, I prithee.
Though you have become a Crystal Brave, you are yet a Scion, Alphino. We could hardly refuse you. Pray, join the Crystal Braves and lend them your support. Thancred and Papalimo shall accompany you. Ida and Yashtola, in the meantime I would have you assist Moonbreeder. Scout out the crystal clusters, that the testing may commence as soon as the Garlean threat has been eliminated.
If it please you, I shall continue mine own experiments on white aurosite.
Thank you, Arianger. Everyone, pray see to your preparations and depart as soon as you are able. Go well, and be safe.
And if you're just joining us, welcome. Welcome. We're glad to have you here. How are you doing today? I hope everything's all right. Drop us a message down in the chat if you would, or if you just prefer to lurk and enjoy the atmosphere in the game with us. That's quite all right. We're just happy to have you here. Thank you. 'Twould seem that events have once more conspired to rob us of rest and recuperation. Though I would wish it otherwise, I must ask that you head straight away to the processing plant. The Fourth have already deployed to the area and await the arrival of the Scions. Wilred will brief you on the developing situation. Meanwhile, I must rendezvous with Captain Ilbert at our headquarters in Ul'dah. I shall take command of our forces there with a lighter heart, knowing that you go to support the front lines. Your duties take you to northern Thanalin, do they not? We too must say our farewells to the Rising Stones for a time. Flamen travels to Ul'dah, and we shall serve as her escort. At my daughter's behest, I go to contact certain old acquaintances in the Gilded City. We are beset on all sides by civil unrest and imperial machinations, threatened by primals and troubled by dragons. We need all the allies we can muster. Many of my friends hold positions of power, you see, and it is my hope that they can be convinced to aid the Scion's cause. If past events have taught us anything, then we know that Eorzea must present a united front, or we shall fall. Ah, how extraordinary that my little Ascilia is involved in such a far-reaching affairs. I am proud that I might now stand at her side, not only as a mother, but also as a colleague. A colleague with influential connections, but I fear that Ul'dah has become a place of danger even for one so familiar with her streets. Ah, woe betide the blackguard who so much as glares in your direction, milady. I shall be well protected, it seems. Shall we be on our way then? All right, later. Flamen, Hoary Boulder, Coltene. All right, now we got to speak with Wilred at the cerulean processing plant. Commander Levelier sent word that you'd be coming. A veteran of your talents is most welcome. Not that I don't think we can handle the situation, mind you. I've learned a trick or two since that disaster with the Amalja. But returning to the task at hand. The Flames reconnaissance scouts have reported Imperial soldiers assembling at Rauban's Push. Such a force is likely interested in only one thing: getting their hands on the resources found here at the processing plant. The Garleans could begin marching on us at any time. Pray, speak with Lieutenant Edelstein that we might coordinate our counter-strategy. In the meantime, I will inform the others that you have arrived. No doubt it will be welcome tidings. Lieutenant Adventurer, my soldiers yet tell tales of your deeds during Operation Archon. Would that we could sit a while and reminisce about old times, but I fear more pressing matters require our attention. The civilian draftsmen, you see, have come across several highly suspicious crates within the boundaries of the processing plant. I had my sappers take a closer look, and our worst fears were confirmed. These boxes contain powerful explosive devices, devices of Imperial design no less. By my order, the Flames stationed here are conducting a thorough sweep of the compound as we speak. Though it troubles me that we were unable to apprehend the Imperial spy behind this, I have faith that our men will be able to neutralize the threat for now. In the meantime, our scouts bring troubling news on the latest movements of the Imperial army. I would once again ask for your aid. We've been keeping a close eye on that Garlean garrison, and 'twould seem the Imperials have finally begun to mobilize. According to the reconnaissance report that just came in, the squads seen leaving the castrum are too few in number to effectively take and hold our position. They will likely mount a swift assault and focus on the acquisition of resources. I have, of course, also shared this report with the Crystal Braves. They've decided to take to the field to meet this assault head-on. I have apprised your fellow scions of the situation and am heartened to know that they will be joining the effort. Pray report to Lieutenant Ascian and lend your much welcome strength to the counteroffensive. Will do. Glad to have you with us, Anne. As I'm sure Lieutenant Edelstein has explained, the Garleans have deployed a small force from Castrum Meridianum. Their main column assembles to the north near Dalamud's Talons, but we've also spied several squadrons attempting to conceal themselves on the approach to the west. They wish you to rush forth and commit to battle with the main column, leaving the detached force free to raid the plant and pillage supplies. Not much of a strategy, but these are desperate men. Captain Ilbert! Greetings, Scion. I understand the commander bid you and your fellows come lend a hand to the Braves. With such mighty heroes at its disposal, the Fourth should have little trouble contending with aught the Garleans might throw at them. But even you cannot be everywhere at once. The Third was getting restless holed up in Ul'dah, so I marched them out here to fill any holes in the plant's defenses and add their numbers to your counterattack. The reinforcements are welcome. We've enough soldiers now to divide our own forces and safely engage the enemy far beyond the walls. Aye, 'twould be best to avoid staging a battle anywhere near this much ceruleum. Let's take this fight to the Garleans. A wise course indeed. I shudder to think of the consequences should any of these storage tanks be exposed to fire. If there are no objections, the Scions shall join the Fourth and give battle to this main column. You're with the Third then, Warrior of Light. Your job will be to intercept these squads hiding out in the west and preventing them from reaching at the processing plant. When you're ready to proceed, report to Lieutenant Yuyuhasi. His scouts should have a rough idea of where the Imperials have concealed themselves by now. A pleasure to be fighting at your side once more, Scion. Our operations invariably succeed when you're around, and victories are wont to pave the road to greater coin. Yeah, that's the only thing on your mind, isn't it, buddy? Now, this detached force we've been sent to eliminate has split into smaller squads, the better to conceal themselves within the terrain hereabouts, I imagine. We'll need to split ourselves up as well to cover more ground and make sure we root out all these would-be raiders. And seeing as you're an army unto yourself, I've assigned you your own areas to scour clean of enemy soldiers. Aye, this will be a simple search and destroy. We'll rendezvous back here when the task is done. Happy hunting, Scion. All right. Alright, Choco Buddy, help me out here. All right. And we got Earth sprites here too. Take them out. That way I can AoE the crap out of anything that shows up here and not worry about them. All right. You seem grim, Scion. I'll take that to mean that between us, more than a few Garleans won't be making it back to the castrum. These Imperials, though, they certainly made us earn our pay. I would be a happy man if I never had to tussle with another of those Magitech horrors. It is time we bid this war-torn land farewell. I will contact the Fourth and let Lieutenant Ascian know the west is now clear. I would appreciate it if you would do the same when you report to Lieutenant Edelstein. Lieutenant Adventurer, what news of the Garleans? We kicked ass. Their raiding parties are no more then. Excellent. The Yamagina engineers will be most relieved to hear that the plant is no longer in any immediate danger. Thank you again for your assistance. You must be anxious for word of your fellows. Lieutenant Ascian has reported a sound victory over the main column and informs me that the Scions have already turned their attention to other duties. All but one, that is. The Rogadin lady with the large axe, 'twould appear she has chosen to remain at the site of the battle. I know not what task keeps her from returning to civilization, but Northern Thanalin is no place to wander alone, even for a capable sort such as her. I would certainly feel better about things if you could check in on her before you continue on your way. All right, let's check in. Oh, those Arimans we'll need to keep an eye on.
Hold on, I won't be a second. The beast seemed peckish, so I gave it a taste of my axe. I know. As Urianger never tires of reminding me. An axe ill becometh the hand of a scholar. What can I say? I like axes. To hear my mother tell it, I came into this world holding one. And it's not as if it stopped me picking up a quill, is it? I often think of the man who introduced me to the joys of learning. He's one of the reasons I decided to come to Eorzea. Him and my excruciatingly stiff childhood friend. Considering how unalike we are, it's a wonder we ever got on. The world's a strange old place, isn't it? Aye, that ought to do it. So far, so good. At these concentrations, it shouldn't matter too much if something goes awry. Just enough ether to make it interesting. Did you see that? The way the crystal glowed? The siphon works, I'm happy to say. With a few refinements, it should satisfy our appetite for ether, which just leaves the small matter of forging our blade. I'm not sure how to go about it just yet, but I swear to find a way. I'll put a blade in your hands if it's the last thing I do.
She senses me. A useful talent.
An Ascian. Are they onto us?
By your brand, I see you are an Archon of Sharlayan. Keeper of knowledge. Seeker of truth. Meddler.
I don't know what the hell's you're saying, but I don't much like your tone.
Your instincts serve you well. But come, be not unsettled on my account. That lovely brow was not made for frowns. But I waste my breath. Let me direct my words to one who understands them. We meet at last, warrior of light. I am Nabriales. And you have long been a thorn in my side. I suffered the overweening presence of La Habrea that men might host the power of gods, only for you to undo my hard work.
Oh, bugger.
Ouch.
Do settle down. You must concede that I acted in self-defense. But what's this? I do not sense the blessing of light. Oh, dear. Could it be that frail Hydaelyn has forgotten her champion? This I did not foresee. Shorn of light as you are no longer a threat. And better yet, the seal is broken. Now is the time to claim the staff. With it in my grasp, I shall rise above them all and take my place at Lord Zodiac's right hand.
What did that bastard want with us? Nabriales, he calls himself. With charm like that, I'll bet he has maidens falling at his feet. Unconscious. But this staff... You say just talking about it had the bastard grinning like a brat on his name day. Must be quite a staff. Oh, gods. He means Tupsimati, Master Louis Soir's staff. Minfilia's in danger. We have to get back to the Rising Stones.
Okay, return to the Rising Stones then. Drop some quick messages here in the chats. Alright, back to the Rising Stones. What's going on here? You're here. Master Louisoix's staff is kept in the solar, isn't it? Quickly now. Uh-oh. Looks like something's missing.
You two!
Oh.
So, you were able to divine my intent. What now, warrior of light? Ah, but that name is no longer fitting. You have become decidedly dull, and quite incapable of barring my entry.
I have a sword.
What do you mean?
You truly do not know? Then I suppose it is only right that I enlighten you. The blessing of light kept you and your fellow meddlers safe. It was that which prevented my kind from entering your domain. My kind, I say, though it had no power over the likes of Elidibus and La Hebrea. Being of this world, they could come and go as they please, while I could only look on. But I need look no longer. Now that the seal is gone, I mean to act. Unlike the others, I am not given to waiting. I shall take that staff and bring about the next rejoining.
Rejoining? Then it was your doing. The Isle of Val, the scholars, all of it.
You will not harm her!
Moonbreeder!
Why must you insist on forcing my hand? Did you learn nothing from our last meeting? Ah, but I forget. My words fall upon deaf ears.
The staff is but a broken relic, a memorial to the departed. What possible use could you have for it?
What use? You mean to say that all this time you kept the key, never knowing what it was you possessed? The staff Tupsimati, or rather the stone tablet it bears, is host to a great power. Together with the horn, it can be used to draw vast quantities of ether from its bearer's surroundings. How else do you think Louisoix was able to invoke the power of the 12 without making them an offering of crystals? Summoning requires not only prayer, but a profusion of ether. Even a child knows that.
If I did not know before, you may be certain I do now. But above all, I know that we cannot allow this staff to fall into your hands. I will die before I let you take it.
Insufferable woman. I would happily end your miserable life here and now. Alas, Elidibus would never let me hear the end of it. Very well. If you will not part with the staff, I will take you too.
Whoops.
After them! Quickly! Before the rift closes!
Alright, a new duty finder duty here. This one's not duty support, so we'll just queue up for this one. Chrysalis. Where is it? There it is, up there. It may not take too long. Meanwhile, I better head on over to Ul'dah and see if I can spin some of these poetics here real quick. Yeah, magical range, DPS, ironworks gear. We could use some rings maybe. Let's see. Yeah, even star ring. Yeah, we can replace 2 rings here if we can get 2 of these. Yeah, that'll be nice. What about this choker? That's already 110. And we'll go ahead and get that. And oh, the earrings don't matter. Oh, and the bracelet. Upgrade that. Alright, there we go. Yeah, that gets us up to 125 now. And we've used up some, given ourselves more of a buffer now for those poetics, so we don't waste any. Alright, while we wait for that to happen, go back and, oh yeah, we had one more. No, we took care of that. Let's go check out our Grand Company hunt log here. Ugmarl Mines, Zaharak, and then Wanderer's Palace. Alright, we'll try getting down there to Ugmarl Mines and see what happens here. But hopefully this this duty will pop pretty quickly. Let's see, trying to remember where priests hang out here. There's one. And I need 2 more of those. Beadsman. Oh, that's a roundsman. go. Good. Get into this. See if we can muddle our way through this one now. Well, I guess I ran into too many things there. we go.
You're safe. Thank the 12.
You may have bested me this day, but what of the next? What of all the days to come? Remember, light no longer holds sway here. I may return whensoever I wish, again and again and again. Eventually, you will falter, and the staff will be mine. Until next time, scions.
There will be no next time. This is the end.
What trickery is this? No. No! Cannot! No!
Use Tube Samati to gather ether. Quickly, before he breaks free! Concentrate! Call to mind the time you struck down La Habrea with the Blade of Light. Why won't it work? Is it because we lack the blessing of light?
Damn it. So much ether. And it still isn't enough.
Fools! No mortal prison can contain me! I shall make you pay for your insolence!
Please, Mother Heidelin, hearken to our plea. Lend us your divine light. Why can you not hear us? Do our words no longer reach you?
If only we had a bit more ether.
Moonbreeder, what are you doing?
Master Louisoix, I understand now. The choice you made in death. There is life. Farewell, Urianger. You daft old coot.
Moonbreeder! No! You mustn't!
What? No! It cannot end! I am eternal! I am immortal!
Oh, yeah.
Moonbreeder. She's gone.
But she looked content in the end, though.
You did it, my friend. The Ascian is dead. This device is a legacy of Moonbreeder's toils and sacrifice. I shall hold on to it for safekeeping.
Minfilia, are you all right?
I am.
Oh, we were surveying northern Thanalan when we received the distress call. We returned as swiftly as we were able.
It seems you have everything in hand, however.
What happened here? Where is Moonbreeder?
Got some bad news for you.
She gave her life to temper the Blade of Light. I have no words.
Rather than await the inevitable, she took her fate into her own hands.
Does Ariange know?
My friend, there is something I must tell you.
I heard all, my lady. The moon sinketh, taking her leave of the heavens, yet her passing heraldeth the coming of a new day. Moonbreeder hath fulfilled her destiny, hath she not? Long ago, far across the seas in the Sharlayan motherland, Moonbreeder and I did study under the sage tutelage of Master Louisoix. Full oft did he impress upon us that knowledge existeth to serve the greater good. This sentiment, however, was contrary to the nation's policy of neutrality, which censured intercedence in the affairs of foreign lands. In spite of vehement opposition, he founded the Circle of Knowing, and journeyed hitherto the heart of Eorzea. Through his noble sacrifice was the realm spared its doom. Yet this great soul, whom all should rightly have honored, was branded a pariah in his own land. His peers did accuse him of forsaking his duty as a man of learning, and of meddling in the course of history. When he left Sharlayan behind, Master Louisoix gave no word to signal his intent to Moonbreeder. Close as they were, as master and disciple, she was deeply wounded by the sudden exclusion from his confidence. Above all, however, she was confused. Try as she might, she could ill comprehend her master's motive. The slanders that were heaped upon him after his passing served only to inflame the turmoil within her. For years upon end, she knew not what to believe. Torn as she was twixt the man whom she revered and the man who forsook her and his duty both.
The Louisois I knew would never forsake his duty, much less one of his own.
This I know full well, my lady. 'Twas not for want of love that Master Louisois hid his intent. He but desired that Moonbreeder discover her own path, free of the shadow of his influence. Long did I contemplate revealing the truth to her, and long did I hold my peace. After all, was it not Master Louisois' wish that she come to the truth unaided? I told myself it was, and resolved to let her suffer. Knowingly did I deny my friend the comfort she craved. And now she hath gone to her rest, with doubt still in her heart. Speakest thou in earnest? Did Moonbreeder truly come to understand Master Louisois' will before the end? The realization hath set her free. She may now find the peace which hath for so long eluded her.
Yep.
Oh, Moonbreeder, my dearest, how I shall miss thee.
Moonbreeder gave her life that we might possess the means to defeat the Ascians. Her sacrifice must not be in vain. Let us continue her work on the Blade of Ether and see it to completion.
My lady, I would mourn Moonbreeder in mine own way. I beg your permission to return to the Waking Sands.
Of course, my friend. Take all the time you require. We shall be here should you have need of us.
Whew. Never have I seen Urianger so utterly defeated. No one should be made to suffer such grief. We shall gather in the Charlian Manor to celebrate Moonbreeder's life and mourn her passing. As Moonbreeder was a native of Charlian, I feel it is only fitting that we gather before the Mark of the Scholar. Are you familiar with the stone? 'Tis a monument found at Rathfrost and is sacred to Thaliak, guardian deity of the City of Learning. There shall we pray for our dear friend's soul and bid her a peaceful return to the light of the Mother Crystal.
Forgive me, Moonbreeder. Had I been quicker or wiser, but I was not, and you paid the price. But you would not suffer us to wallow in our sorrow, would you? You would tell us to pick ourselves up and get on with it. And so we shall. We shall defend this realm and her people to the last.
Life for death, a fair exchange. Other bargains will be struck.
Back to the Rising Stones. Though we have said our farewells, the pall of sadness has diminished but little. Forgive me. As antecedent, 'tis my job to be the pillar of strength for all others to lean upon. Yet I also believe the grief we feel now is precious in its own way, and not to be lightly swept aside. Do you not agree, Anne? "'Tis as if a dagger has been thrust into my breast. But 'tis a pain we must learn to bear if we are to forge ahead with our duty. The battles we have fought have taken the lives of so many. Louisoix, Moonbreeda, our fellows at the Waking Sands. The spirit and dedication to our cause, however, will never be lost as long as we rise to fight once more. I hardly need remind you of this, of course. 'Tis for my own benefit that I repeat these words, a reaffirmation of mine own chosen path. If I do not rebuild the foundation of my resolve, I am like to collapse in a fit of weeping. My apologies again, Anne. There is no other to whom I could display such weakness. You are my pillar of strength, and I fear I shall have need of your steadfast presence in the days to come. A victory won, a comrade lost. To honor the fallen, the living forge ever on towards the light of a new day. Have you a moment, Anne? I believe Ida wished a word with you. I should consider it a personal favor if you would lend a sympathetic ear to her troubles. She has not been herself since Moonbreeda's passing, and my heart aches to see her so downcast. Hey, it's Anne! Great! Oh, it's no use. I'm trying to stay positive, but it's just hard, you know? The thing is, I know Moon would tell me off if she saw me moping around like this, which is why I decided to cheer myself up by getting her a special flower. I placed an order for a moon daisy with Rowena a little while ago, and it's ready to be picked up. The trouble is, I find Rowena a bit difficult at the best of times, and, well, this isn't one of them. I know it's silly, but I just can't face it at the moment. So I was wondering, do you think you could maybe collect it for me? I have the coin to pay for the flower right here. Thank you so much. I'll be waiting for you, and the daisy, at Rathfrost. What can I do for you today, adventurer? Eldritch trinket to trade? Huh? They've got you running errands now. Them scions really know how to make the most of your talents, don't they? Sending the savior of Eorzea to the bleeding market. Fine use of your time, that is. Seriously, though, you'd best learn how to say no, or they'll have you mucking out the chocobo stables next. Anyway, what was it you were here to pick up? The moon daisy, was it? Here then, take it. Until that Eda lass, I've got a wide selection of headwear in stock if she ever decides to replace that dowdy old mask of hers. Gods knows she needs to. Rowena can be so annoying. She just will not take no for an answer. Every time I visit her, she insists I replace my visor with something more fashionable. And when I tell her I like it just fine the way it is, she says it again. And then again. And then again. It drives me crazy. What I mean to say is, I really appreciate you doing this for me. So anyway, let's see it. Moonbreeda loved these things, you know. I hope that somewhere, somehow, she knows I'm still thinking of her.
I'll never forget you, Moon. None of us will.
The song riseth to a crescendo.
Is that what I think it is?
Hello, can you hear me? We have received grave tidings from Ishgard. Pray return to the Rising Stones at once.
My apologies for the interruption. I was deeply saddened to learn of Moonbreeda's passing. Her loss will be sorely felt. Alas, recent developments in Ishgard leave us little time to mourn. The envoy from Kurthus will arrive soon, and we must hasten to hear her report. The envoy is here. I thank you for receiving me at such short notice. Time is of the essence, so I would forgo the usual pleasantries if I may. Certainly. You come with news of the Dravanians? Aye, the dragons have begun their attack in earnest. The first wave reached the Central Highlands a short while ago, and battle was joined soon thereafter. Sir Aymeric himself sallied forth with a contingent of temple knights and several companies of the noble house's finest. Though the beasts were ultimately forced into retreat, our victory, if such it may be called, came at the cost of many of our own. Too many. We will not withstand a second wave should the Dravanians renew their assault. You paint a grim picture, my lady. It is reinforcements you seek, then. We do. Though it pricks our pride, it is plain we cannot protect Ishgard with our ranks thus thinned by the Horde. Sir Aymeric would meet with you to discuss the possibility of enlisting your aid. Very well. I shall depart for Kurthus at once. I must warn you, however, that the involvement of the Crystal Braves is by no means assured. Our commitment to quelling the unrest in Ul'dah must take precedence. It is with such contingencies in mind that I must make another request. The Scions of the Seventh Dawn are known for sharing close ties with all three of the grand companies of Eorzea. Would you consent to plead our case to their leaders? Though I will gladly appeal to the grand companies on your behalf, I dare not promise a favorable reply. You need say no more. Considering our past dealings with the Eorzean Alliance, I can well imagine how our plea will be received. But the fate of Ishgard hangs in the balance. We must explore every avenue still open to us, no matter how unpromising. I see. Very well. I shall send envoys to each of the allied nations and have them present your request directly to the heads of the grand companies. In the event that your plea does not receive a favorable answer, know that any support is certain to be conditional. Demands will be made of Ishgard. That is only to be expected. Rest assured that I speak with Sir Aymeric's authority in this matter, and that our actions are fully sanctioned by the Holy See. Which brings me to my final request. A personal appeal to you, Warrior of Light. The Lord Commander much desires to speak with you, regardless of your fellow's involvement. You faced Midgard-Zormr and survived. Anything you can share of your experience may yield us an advantage over our foe. Thank you. You wear the mantle of hero well. 'Twould seem the road leads us both to Camp Dragonhead. Seek me out when you arrive, Anne.
The sons must answer for their father's misdeeds. Only then will the cycle be broken. Brothers and sisters of the heavens, we raise our voices and join you in the chorus. The sinner's feeble magics are undone. Come, claim your retribution.
Whoa. Here's old Alfie. It seems I was the swifter, Anne. You too, however, have arrived with time to spare, for our host has yet to make an appearance. The murmurings about camp tell of some manner of trouble at the gates of judgment. In the Lord Commander's absence, I suggest we visit the place and find out what is afoot. The bothered bowman says, "The gates of judgment are much more than mere doors. They are the outermost lair of Ishgard's magical wards. If our first line of defense can be so easily shattered..." Tenderhook Temple Knight. "When I laid eyes upon Lady Iceheart, I felt the marrow freeze within my bones." Dyspeptic Dragoon says, "Heretic scum! How dare they meddle with our divine protections? I shall rid our nation of their blasphemy, even if it means cutting them down one by one." And then Trembling Temple Knight. "We need not fret over much. There are yet several layers of arcane protection that shield the city from invasion. Mother will be fine." Twould seem the heretic struck the first, and most telling, blow against Ishgard. "Scions, we expected you at Camp Dragonhead." "My apologies. We chanced to hear that there had been trouble at the gates and thought it prudent to investigate the cause." "Then you have learned of the heretic's treachery. Lady Iceheart led a force of her followers against our defenders and came close enough to dispel the first of our wards." Ooh, I like that armor Lucia has. "But let us speak more of this back at the camp. Sir Aymeric awaits you." "Lady Iceheart has grown bold indeed if she would risk direct action against the city. Come, let us do as we were bid and return to Camp Dragonhead. Lord Horshaphant will know where Sir Aymeric means to receive us." "'Tis reassuring indeed to behold the countenance of a friend when one's homeland teeters upon the very brink of disaster. Though a single misstep could send us plunging into the abyss, your heroic presence stokes the flames of courage within my heart." "Ah, but you did not come to Dragonhead to listen to my prattling. The Lord Commander has arrived and would treat with you in the intercessory." "Understood." Greetings, madam. Shall I show you inside? I thank you for coming with such haste, and apologize for my absence. Suffice it to say, Lady Iceheart and her heretics have much to answer for. Yes, we are but recently returned from the gates of judgment ourselves. Given the circumstances, we quite understand if you would prefer to postpone our appointed audience. On the contrary, Master Alphino, I think it more important than ever that this meeting take place. Rest assured, I shall return to my post on Ishgard's walls the moment our business is concluded. Before we move on to the subject of reinforcements, however, I would introduce you to a close friend and stalwart ally, Estinian. May I present to you Ishgard's Azure Dragoon. An impressive title, though I confess I know precious little of the Order of Dragoons. They are formidable warriors all, yet even among such masters of the lance, Estinian is without equal. He, out of all the warriors of Ishgard, was chosen to wield the power of dragons, and may thus contend with any Dravanian. You flatter me overmuch, Lord Commander. So, you are the adventurer of whom they spoke. I see now why my blood fair sang in anticipation of our meeting. Well, now that we have all been introduced, let us proceed to the matter at hand. I would share with you what we have learned of Iceheart's design, as confessed by the heretics taken captive after the assault on the gates. It would seem that Lady Iceheart and the Dravanians share a common goal, the reclamation of Nidhogg's stolen eye. Nidhogg, one of the 7 great worms. His name features prominently in your nation's history. Though once defeated by the hero Haldreth, the beast is said to have terrorized Kurthus since Ishgard's founding. Aye, many are the scars our walls bear from Nidhogg's relentless efforts to raise the city. The trophy Haldreth plucked from the bested worm's skull, known simply as the Eye, is a treasured relic of Ishgard, and one possessed of untold power. Should it ever be returned to Nidhogg, the dread creature would be restored to the height of his strength, and then no wall or ward we could erect would be stout enough to deny him. My vengeful son hath waged war against Ishgard for 1,000 years. No mortal mind could comprehend the depths of his rancor. The eye itself is secreted deep within the vault. It is kept under heavy guard, surrounded at all times by men and women who have proven their loyalty to the Holy See. But though stout walls and sharp blades may suffice to discourage the heretics, the dragons are another matter. There are individuals within the Dravanian horde whom an entire company of knights would labor to repel, to say nothing of Nidhogg himself. Nor does age rob them of their strength. Through the endless march of years, the dragons endure, patient, calculating, inexorable. You must understand, these creatures do not share our perception of time. And that is especially true of the great worms. They who spend centuries in slumber only to wake and resume their campaign as if mere hours had passed. It has been 20 years since Nidhogg last darkened our skies. 20 years for him to gather his strength, and for us to bolster our defenses. And now, just as he seems primed to return, the heretics strike at the gates. You believe that Lady Iceheart is in league with the creature, then? Of that we cannot be certain, Though we know the heretics covet the eye, we have been unable to determine their plans for it. Such questions aside, we must needs address the ragged hole their mistress has seen fit to rend in Ishgard's protections. 'Tis a weakness the Dravanians are not like to leave untested. So it would seem. You have described your plight in admirable detail, Lord Commander, yet I cannot help but wonder at your candor. Why share such sensitive information with us? I shall speak plain. Ishgard has need of allies, and I would have you bolster our front lines in readiness for the coming battle against the dragons. This much I expected. Unlike our arrangement concerning the Keeper of the Lake, however, only you stand to benefit from our assistance in this matter. I fail to see why we should intervene in a conflict which concerns only Ishgard and Dravania. When the Eorzean Alliance requested Ishgard's assistance during Operation Archon, you refused us. Does it not seem grossly unjust to demand that we now risk our lives in your private war? I make no attempt to defend my country's conduct. I only ask that you consider what would follow were Ishgard to fall. Having razed our city to the ground, the Horde would have little cause to linger, and most would return to their lairs in Dravania. Soon thereafter, the ruins of Kurthus would be buried in snow, and the land would become the sole province of beasts and beastmen. Until the Garleans' arrival, that is. For you may be certain that the Empire would not hesitate to claim Kurthus. They would not even have to draw steel. An imperial province sharing a border with Mordona. 7 hells! Very well. We will assist you in repelling the dragons. The roar of a great worm may have shaken the firmament, but we of Eorzea will not abandon our Ishgardian brothers to face the coming horde alone. Nor did I ever think you would. Now, upon the matter of the roar, allow me, Sir Aymeric. Through the power of the Eye, I have become the vessel of Nidhogg's strength. His essence has stolen into my very blood. Fear not, I am in full control of my faculties, I assure you, and the Eye itself is of no relevance to this tale. It is not essential that I bear it with me wheresoever I go. Its lingering influence does, however, allow me to hear Nidhogg's voice. Then the worm who roared was Nidhogg, aye. He means to hurl his horde against Danafin's collar and shatter the remaining wards that protect the city. There can be no doubt the worm has summoned his minions to war. Though the circumstances are far from ideal, this desperate endeavor will at least provide us an opportunity to bring the sister states of Eorzea together in common cause. Sir Aymeric was more ruthless in his negotiations than I had anticipated. I suppose one must give no quarter when one's home is at stake. But did you see the look on his face when he formally requested our assistance? Though the Lord Commander has long campaigned for Ishgard to open its gates to outsiders, I suspect this softening of the Holy See's attitude towards foreign cooperation comes as something of a bittersweet victory. The days ahead promise to be interesting indeed. If we are to aid the Ishgardians in this war of theirs, preparations will have to be made, and soon. Before proceeding, however, we must needs return to the Rising Stones and make our report to the antecedent.
Alphino, it is good to see you. Tell me, what have you learned?
Pray summon the others. Everyone must hear my report.
So this was all but a taste of what's to come.
Indeed. The main host advances upon Ishgard as we speak.
Whose vaunted defenses have been nullified.
Shorn of its wards, the city will bear the full force of Nidhogg's fury.
All those people.
Alphino is right. The Dravanians cannot be allowed to prevail. If Ishgard falls, all of Eorzea will suffer the consequences.
Then you agree that we have no choice but to intervene. For the good of the realm, the Scions of the Seventh Dawn and the Crystal Braves must join the defense of Ishgard.
Let there be no ambiguity about what has been proposed. We would be directly intervening in the war. But if all here believe the cause to be just, then to war we shall go. The path we now embark upon is perilous, but I pray you will walk with us to the end. For those we have lost, for those we can yet save.
Then it is settled. I shall inform the Council of our intentions and request that they contribute their own forces to the defense of Ishgard.
I have bid the Archons travel to their assigned nations. Should the members of the Alliance agree to pledge Grand Company soldiers to Ishgard's cause, our comrades will be on hand to act as intermediaries for the duration of the conflict. The small matter of persuading the Alliance leaders to grant such support I leave to Alphino. For you, my friend, a different task awaits. I would have you reach out to your fellow adventurers and gather what allies you may for the coming siege. I would also have you consider the matter of our own security. Revenant's Toll is but a short flight from the snowfields of Kurthus. It is not unimaginable that the fighting may spill across the border. Pray, brief Slaftborn on the brewing conflict and discuss potential contingencies. The frontier settlers must be prepared for aught that might wing its way over our walls. I only hope that such precautions prove unnecessary. Before you leave, might I suggest that you have Tataru accompany you? She has a talent for administration and a firm grasp of the practical challenges we may encounter. We are rather close to Kurthus, aren't we? We'd best see to our own defenses and take stock of our supplies. Oh, and we'll also need to have beds and bandages laid out, just in case. A good receptionist is ready for any eventuality. Let's go, Anne. I have 101 things to discuss with Slafborn. I appreciate the warning. If war is coming to Kurthis, then the toll must be made ready. I'll increase the number of patrols and lookouts immediately. I'll also see about finding room for an infirmary, as well as temporary housing for victims of the conflict. Ishgard has done well by us in the past, and I would return the favor. But as for rounding up volunteers for the fighting itself, I'm afraid I must disappoint you. I will not send my fellow guild members to die on Ishgardian soil, and I am certain headquarters will say the same. There will be no official Adventurers Guild presence at this siege. That said, each adventurer is of course free to do as he or she will. I shall have a word with some of my more capable colleagues on your behalf, and you might try your luck here in Revenant's Toll. I dare say there are a few stout souls about town who will answer your call to arms. Let's get started, shall we? We have a town to rouse. Spare me your talk of glory and fame. I'm not in the habit of volunteering for lost causes. I've survived this long by trusting my instincts, and my instincts tell me to stay well away from Ishgard. Ishgard sounds like she's in a right mess, but that ain't what I wanted to talk to you about. I need you to cast your mind back to that scuffle with the Empire out by the processing plant. A lad from Little Alamigo by the name of Wilrid was there with the Fourth that day, and I want to know if you've seen him since. Have you? Gods damn it, I feared as much. No one's bloody seen him. It's like the ground opened up and swallowed him whole. But that ain't all. Around the time Wilrid stopped turning up for duty, them black market weapons went missing from our vault in Ul'dah. So now, of course, half the braves suspect the lad of making off with the goods. Folk like to believe our company's a disciplined fighting force, but as you and me both know, it's no more than a motley collection of mercenaries, adventurers, and Grand Company veterans. The only thing that binds us together is some vague oath about fighting for the freedom of all. That and the steady pay. Now, compared to most others in this crew, Wilrid's a fresh-faced novice, a bleeding whelp amongst wolves. But the boy's got passion. When he talked about being a guardian of Eorzea, he bloody well meant it. A lad like him wouldn't rob us blind and bugger off like that. He ain't the type. And then, and this is just between you and me, mind, there's the fact that the lad wanted to tell me about something queer he'd noticed in the ledgers. Something about the Braves' numbers not adding up. Aye, there's a villain at the end of this trail I've stumbled on, and I'll bet me good eye it ain't young Wilrid. Any road, you've got a war to wage, so I'll let you get on. I just thought someone should know. I'll be seeing you, Anne. So Ishgard seeks sellswords to bolster its ranks, eh? Though I'm not sure I like the sound of this siege, those nobles will surely be generous with their rewards. But I have pledged myself to guard Revenant's Toll. Modest work though it is, I am loath to break the terms of my contract. What to do? What to do? Sell me blade to the Ishgardians? Well, them dragons are a fearsome lot, but I'd slay me fair share if the coin was good. I've worked for one of them knights before, you know. Watched me like a bloody hawk, he did. Still, I'd put up with worse than that for a heavy purse. Volunteer my services in the defense of Ishgard? I think not. Dragons claimed the lives of every one of my brothers. I do not mean to offer them mine. 'Twas to escape such a fate that I took up the mantle of adventurer in the first place. I would sooner die in the pursuit of fortune than huddled behind an icy wall. There you are, Anne. So, did you sway any hearts? One or two, eh? Well, added to mine, that makes 3 or 4, not including Slafborn's friends. We won't have the largest company in the army, but I'd say one Revenant's Toll veteran is worth a dozen clanking knights at least. Oh, I've been so caught up with recruiting that I almost forgot. There had been word from Alphino. Apparently, the Alliance leaders are convening in Ul'dah to discuss Ishgard's plight. And they've requested your presence as usual. Anyway, you'd best make your way to Ul'dah or you'll be late. Alphino said that he would meet you on the Royal Promenade. And we'll finish up here for today. Tomorrow we'll be back here at the same time, 6:30 a.m. Eastern. And we should be getting to the conclusion of A Realm Reborn tomorrow with any luck. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Hope you have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.